Hello there, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Planet Zoo. We're back in Tiny Zoo. Right, first off, before I get going in this episode, I just want to give you a quick apology for my lack of videos in the last few days. It's down to a few reasons. Basically, I've been away on holiday for the last week, so therefore obviously I've not been recording and I've not been uploading. And my plan before I went away was to upload a whole load of videos that would cover me for the whole week that I was away. Unfortunately, that didn't happen due to various internet problems and other things going on here. Just life just getting in the way, basically. So I wasn't able to upload as many as I wanted to. So my videos ran out 3 or 4, possibly even 5 days ago now. So I do apologise that I've been missing for a while, but you'll be glad to know I had a lovely week away in Spain. So I'm all refreshed and re-energised and ready for the winter ahead. And while I was away, I've come up with a few new ideas for various bits and pieces. I'm actually going to be starting a new zoo soon. That's my plan. So currently I've got 2 zoos on the go. I've got Tiny Zoo and I have Volcano Bay Zoo. So Volcano Bay is my massively epic over-the-top zoo. I'm just dipping in and out of that as and when I have inspiration for building a particularly impressive structure or whatever. Tiny Zoo is still going, although I don't know how much more will be put into Tiny Zoo. We'll have to see what happens. But I've got an idea for a new zoo that I want to do, and it's going to be a sort of a, I don't know, maybe a sort of like an American Pine Valley type sort of style. But the main difference that it's going to have over these zoos, and one thing that a lot of people ask me about is why I don't do speed build videos, which is where you record yourself doing the building and then you speed it up and do a commentary over the top. There's a few reasons why I don't do that. Mainly is because of the editing process. I'm not very good at the whole editing thing, and I haven't figured out actually a good way of editing a commentary track over the top of a sped up video. I think I probably could just about manage it now. I certainly know how to do the sped up video part of it, but recording the commentary over the top and still making it look and sound good and sort of coordinate works. It doesn't work so well if you're not very good at the editing. The other reason I don't like particularly to do that is that I like to be able to show you what I'm talking about, and obviously when you're doing a commentary over a pre-recorded speed build, you can't sort of slow it down, you can't show you things, you can't talk about stuff that's not on the screen really. You've got to try and keep up with what's being shown. So it's just not a style that I particularly like, I'll be honest. It works very well when other people do it, but it's just not what I want to do. However, what I've decided I want to try and do, and I have no idea if it's going to work or if you guys are going to be interested in it at all, it's going to be, I'm going to do real-time recording, basically. So as if I was doing a live stream, but not live. So I'm going to record probably still half-hour episodes, but it's going to be done in real time. So you're going to be able to see me do all my building, and I will talk to you as I go along, explaining what I'm doing and my thought processes. And because I'll run out of things to talk about when I'm building, I will tell you all about various other bits and pieces that you probably have no interest in at all, but I will try and talk and try and keep it as interesting as I can. So obviously what will happen there is that you won't get an episode which covers an entire habitat, because a half-hour episode isn't going to be long enough for me to do that. It's going to be quite a slow process, building a habitat like this last one. So this was the siamang. This probably took sort of 4 or 5 hours of building, but then I record it in segments and do the commentaries, and it comes down to a half-hour episode. Now obviously if I'm recording in real time, that's not going to be the case, and it's going to take much longer. So we'll have to see how it goes. I have no idea, but I want to give it a go. So there we go. So that's going to be a new series that starts soon. I'm hopefully going to be recording that sort of the first few episodes in the next week. So keep an eye out for that. And obviously Volcano Bay Zoo will come and go as and when I feel like building in it. Tiny Zoo is progressing. So obviously we've got this new episode today. I can tell you today is the American buffalo, which is very exciting. It's a very cool creature. But what's happened with Tiny Zoo really is it is getting very big, and I've run out of the small animals essentially. That was the original plan for Tiny Zoo. You can see here how big it's become. It was all going to be just lots of small animals, but I've now basically done them all. So I'm going back to the start of the alphabet essentially, and just working my way through, picking out some more animals that I haven't put in here yet, and seeing what I could do, because obviously the idea was it was lots of small enclosures in this zoo. So if you get the bigger animals in there, like the elephants and the buffalo, it's a struggle to keep the enclosures small. But that's what I'm doing, and here we go. So this is today's enclosure, the American buffalo. So they are going to be in here, and I think this is still a reasonable size. Now I think in real life they wouldn't have a small enclosure quite this small, but if you only had 2 of them, this isn't unreasonable. But it's a game at the end of the day, so we don't need to worry too much about that. But here we go. So this is today's episode. So let's crack on with this. Obviously, you got anything you want to ask me about my other series or whatever, just drop me a comment, and I will always reply. But today's episode is American buffalo. So this, I wanted them in this corner here. So we've already got the lovely backdrop here of the, I think this is the California sea lions, yeah, over on the other side here. Now you remember I've had to remove a lot of the animals from the zoo, so that I wasn't getting as much lag on my PC. So there aren't actually animals in there. But there will be some American buffalo in here. So it's a simple layout. I wanted the edge to be mainly water, and I wanted this because American buffalo is obviously a big, a potentially dangerous animal. So I didn't want sort of the traditional very large mesh fencing, or like the big metal girders that you get with elephant enclosures. I wanted it to be a fairly weak-looking habitat, but a weak-looking fence, but done in such a way that it still looked realistic. So that's why I've gone with the water here. And the idea is that the buffaloes wouldn't cross the water to get to the fence. Now I know in reality they can swim, so they would do that. But anyway, for the sake of the enclosure and for the sake of the game, that's what I've gone with. So here's our basic layout. I do change this a bit because I do actually give them a small swimming pool over here, so that I think this bit of land here disappears as well. But we'll get to that in a minute. Right, so let's not delay anymore. Let's crack on with the next save point and see what I got up to next. Oh, and here we have our pair of American buffalo. Who do we have? We have Econ and we have Cambo. Nice names. Pretty happy with them. So that's a male and a female, and I think in a minute, probably in the next segment, I believe they have a baby, which is nice because I forgot to give them their what's it called, anti-fertility drugs, you know what I mean, down here, what's it called, contraception, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, I forgot to turn that off. So yeah, they do have a baby, I believe, which is very cute. I don't mind that. So here you can see I have extended the lake a little bit, just so they've got a little bit of swimming space over here, and as you can see they do enjoy it. I do love that you can make the water murky now as well, all the different types of colour. So I've gone with the dirty watercolour. It just looks so much more realistic because these animals are dirty animals, and obviously this is all just natural mud here as well, so the water wouldn't stay clean for very long at all. So yeah, so that looks much better. Giving them a bit of a fence just along the back here. Again, it is a bit of a weak fence. I think you would probably have something sturdier than that for buffalo, but possibly not. I mean, they're not aggressive creatures, they're just very strong. But, would they get through that? I don't know. But that's what I've gone with all the way along the back, right up to this wall just here. I think I actually do a little bit of extra fencing on this wall here as well, because it was a little bit too low, so I think I sink some of these into here eventually. And I have given them a small shelter, so this is a pretty straightforward shelter. I've used these corrugated iron pieces for the walls, corrugated iron for the ceiling, and then I've just given it some of these metal rods as the uprights. And a few sort of cross beams in the middle and down the edges here as well, so it looks like it's actually supporting the roof. I didn't want it to be completely solid. I just wanted it to have a nice roof and walls, but plenty of airflow and light getting in there as well. It's the sort of enclosure I've seen for this kind of creature. They don't always have a full indoor area because they're very hardy animals. When these creatures live out in the American wilds, they don't need shelter. They're used to all sorts of weather conditions. So just somewhere they can get out of the rain and get away from the wind a bit. But yeah, so because you don't want these, the trouble is when you build these sorts of shelters, it's very easy to just build a box. And so I'm always trying to come up with ideas just to make them look a little bit different. In this case, I kind of did go with the box shape because it kind of had to, because it needed to fit in into this habitat. But I didn't mind that, and yeah, I just wanted to raise the roof up and do it like that, just with something a little bit different. So they've got plenty of walking space. I think actually when you look at them in this area, they have got a decent amount of space to walk around. I would still, obviously, in a real zoo, I would still want them to have more than this, but I think for the game, it doesn't look too cramped for them in there. And I don't fill it up with too much stuff either, so they've still got plenty of space to walk around, even when they've had their little baby. So there we go. Right, let's crack on then, and let's load up the next save point. And we have our baby buffalo. Oh, so cute. This one is Latasha. It's another nice name, actually. Yeah, nice. Don't mind that. Yeah, very cute. And if only they stayed looking like that, eh? I always say that of all baby creatures, they're always cute, but they always tend to grow up into slightly less cute versions of themselves, don't they? It would be great if you could make baby animals that just stayed as babies. In an ideal world, maybe. Anyway, what have I done? Not too much actually in this cut. So I was working on the fencing, and this is what I came up with because I wanted it to look, like I said before, I wanted it to look weak, as in not actually able to hold a buffalo, but kind of solid. So the idea was, because I did think, well, if there was land here, they would be able to just get up on the land and get out. But if you made it so that the water, so the animals can get in the water, but if they were just butting up against a solid edge like this, they wouldn't be able to climb out and try and escape. So that's what I've done. So what I did, I created a template here. So you've got these nice Arctic beams along the front. You've got some planks of wood as a base here, and you've got a couple of wooden posts, some bits of rope, and what is this piece? Oh yes, this is one of the actual in-game fence pieces that I've just sunk in. I had to put it at a bit of an angle there as well to hide it all. But yeah, so that's just like a little a bottom there, which I thought looked kind of cool. And then I've just copied and pasted that all the way around. And the idea was, obviously, it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy with the soil here and with the pathway, but that was fine. I didn't mind that. I wanted it to look quite natural and sort of built into the bank of the water, and then I can fill in gaps with rocks and plants and things like that. So that was my thinking. I think it looks okay, actually. I'm pretty happy with it. Again, not entirely sure if it would work in real life, but I'm happy with how it looks. My thinking, obviously, for these gaps at this end, and if you look over here, you've got gaps here, would be to just fill this in with plants or with rocks. So that's what I do later on. Obviously, we had this little dip here that was left over from some landscaping over here that I couldn't change. So again, that just gets filled in with some foliage, and then the same again on this side. A gap there that I can fill in, and then the pathway in this end, it does go right up and sort of butts onto this, but I think I'll put some rocks or something in here as well to kind of cover up the bottom of this wall. But yeah, so that's what I came up with for the fence. I think it's pretty cool. I think if you were standing here with the buffalo over here, I think you'd feel relatively safe. I don't think buffaloes are particularly threatening creatures. Oh look, they're all having a swim. They're teaching their little baby how to swim. Isn't that nice? That's cool. At one point I did have to just re-landscape this corner here because where this one is standing, it kept getting a bit corrupted as they climbed it in and out here. The graphics went all funky and their legs ended up coming out the top of their heads, which was most peculiar. In fact, we might be about to see it if this one tries to climb out. Or are you going to stay there? No, it's climbing out. Let's just watch it and see if it happens, because it was going extremely strange. Oh, you're not going to climb out now, are you? Ah, you can never rely on these computer animals to do what you want them to. It's fine. They're having a good old swim there. Absolutely fine. Yeah, but you'll see that corner there just changes a small amount, just to correct that slight bug. Come on, are you going to climb out now? You're going to show me what happens? Here we go. You watch, it won't happen now. Nope, didn't happen. Typical. Never mind, it's all good. Right, so there we go. So that is our outside fence. Like I said, lots of work still to do on it. The slight regret that I had, you can see here when I zoom out, this pale post appears, and that's because for some reason I decided to actually detail it underneath, if I can get in there. And I did actually put, I can't really show you, yeah, there's this beam halfway along the planks, or you can see it from above actually here. Which I just thought was a little bit of realism, but unfortunately if you zoom out a certain amount, the graphics corrupt so that it comes through the top of the planks and it looks terrible from this sort of distance. But by the time I noticed that, I'd already duplicated all of this and I wasn't prepared to go back and change it all. So as long as you stay zoomed in like this, in fact there it's still showing through. So it's annoying, it's my bad, my error. But it's, yeah, look at that, it's weird, isn't it? As you zoom out like that, you can make it appear. It's so strange. Don't like little things like that. Really bugs me. Anyway, there we go. Right, so no idea what I do next. Probably filling in all these gaps and starting, I guess, to do a bit more detailing on the island as well. But we shall see. Let's load up the next point and find out. Right, quite a lot of detailing done. So where do we start? Let's start out here. So this is what I've done. Actually, this corner here I filled in with a bush. So this bush clearly is not really effective because it's just covering that gap, but it looks like the fencing meets inside the bush. That's just a little trick that you can do. If you've got a little gap to fill in like that, just blend it together with a bush and it looks like the whole thing is nice and solid. So then along the outside here, like I said, because of the gaps and things, I didn't mind some of the soil here showing, of course, because it actually makes it look quite nice, like the planks are disappearing into the ground. But I just filled in all these gaps, lots of different grasses, some rocks, some of these new pieces, like this drin grass is quite a new one, I think, the common salt water as well. Just a mixture of different sort of deserty looking things. All the way along here you've got a, what is this tree? A Sudanese frankincense tree. You know, various rocks and things. So the idea is that the people can still clamber over here and get close to the fencing, but they don't really need to. It's not intended for them to. But it just blends it all together quite nicely, I thought. These gaps I decided not to do with rocks in the end, so I've used these lovely big logs on both sides there. Making sure it's not symmetrical. I didn't want it to look too perfect, you know. So so these logs are just filling in the gaps between the fence and the gateway. More of the same along here. We have another of the same tree, the frankincense tree there. More rocks, more cactus and grasses, etc., etc. Is this another one? I think it is. Yes, it is. Coming all the way up into this corner here. So that's the outside done. Inside, not too much going on in here. You've got another one of these trees here, and then a couple of these ones. I love the look of these things. The quiver tree. Yes, you've got a small one and a big one here. I didn't really want too much in here. They certainly don't need lots of cover. Again, these animals, you know, they live on the plains in America, so they don't need lots of shelter, lots of trees, lots of foliage. So pretty sparse. A few grasses, some cactus. The two trees, just a couple of rocks here and there. I did put some rocks over here, like I said, just to sort of finish off the end of the waterway there. I also did put this little bit of extra fencing onto this brick wall here as well. Just thought that looked a bit nicer having that sunken in there. More grass around the back here, so it all looks a bit sort of dry and deserty. Obviously put some bedding inside their house there as well. Yeah, and then oh yeah, this was that little dip in the ground here, so I just covered that in with some of these little what are these, the cowberry bushes there as well. And they're still nice and happy. They've still got a good traversable area. You know, obviously it's not perfect because they can't get around all of these trees and things, but it's fine. You know, they can still get everywhere. They can get around the back, they can get into their shelter, they can come down into the water. You know, it's not great. It is a shame that, I mean, look at that one there. So this is just a couple of cactus and that, and it is a real shame that, you know, the programmers haven't made it so the animals can get closer to these, because it's daft that an animal can't walk between that tree and that cactus. I mean, look at the size of that gap. It's just a bit, it's a little bit silly and frustrating when the traversable areas get affected so much by a tree or a bit of foliage. But there we go, that's the game. You have to work with what you've got, don't you? So there we go, that's looking pretty decent now. Pretty straightforward, you know, there's nothing too tricky or new and original in this habitat. I have also painted the terrain on purpose, kind of mostly mud, a few little patches of green here and there, but generally pretty muddy. These animals are very heavy and messy animals. They would churn up the grass in no time and turn it into mud, so that's what I've gone with. I was tempted to put down a few sort of meadow flowers, some of the new ones from the conservation pack, but I decided no, it didn't look quite right in the end. I don't think I did anyway. I'm sure I definitely tried it at some point. You'll have to bear with me. I did do this build about 3 weeks ago, and I've only just got around to doing the recording after my holiday, so I can't entirely remember what I've done and what I haven't, but I'm pretty sure at one point I did try putting some down, and I don't think I liked the look of it. But we'll see, because there's one more cut to show you, which obviously, because they haven't got any enrichment items in yet, or information boards or benches or anything like that around here. Not sure if I actually put benches down yet, I'll be honest, but I definitely do some media boards and some enrichment items, and then I think that's probably about it for this habitat. But let me load that up and we'll just take one last look. And here we have our final habitat. So there are a few changes actually. So outside, I did change the pathway. I wanted the path to blend in a bit better with the feeling of the mud inside and this these wooden boards that disappear into the ground. So I went with this this natural looking pathway, which obviously gives you this edge, which is good sometimes and bad sometimes. So in this case, it means that the edge comes along here and it does stop people potentially coming onto this area here. But I didn't mind that actually. I thought that made sense. But with there being water here, so as a safety thing, it would make sense that there'd be another barrier back here. So I didn't mind that so much. So that pathway goes all the way around here. And I actually extended it to cover this sort of triangle area here and coming right up into this tarmac bit here as well. I had to move a few cactus and things, but actually some of the, like this post here, goes right through the middle of this cactus. I'm not too fussed about little things like that. It's, you know, most of it looks like it just goes into rocks, which is fine. The odd cactus and grass just disappears, so that's, it's fine. I don't mind that. And then I've just gone with some little benches. You've got Planet Zoo bench here, and you've got a Planet Zoo bin as well. Pretty straightforward out there. Couple of information boards, so just some simple wooden frames around a media board there, and it's all just sunk into the rock, which I thought looked nice. And then I think I did the same over this way as well. Again, this one here, again just sitting on the rock, so it looks like it's been attached to the rock in some way. Inside the enclosure we've got various bits of enrichment, so we've got a little scent box there, we've got a feeding station there, we've got a scratching post, because they do like to have a good scratch. I could just about fit a mud bath in actually, which I was pretty pleased with. I wasn't sure if I would be able to get one in there or not, but I could, right in the middle. They've got a football there, and a little grab thing, I think that is, yeah, a little grab ball there, and there's one or two more. What is that? Oh yes, you've got another feeding one back here, and a ball feeder there, which they've stupidly kicked into the water. Oh, there we go, it just reset itself. That was good. So yeah, there we go. So that is our finished habitat. I think it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how this one looks, actually. I think it's got enough going on that it looks like you know, it will keep the animals entertained and busy, but it's not overly crowded. They've got plenty of nice swimming space over here as well. As you can see, you know, you look at the size of the animal, it's got enough room that it can walk around. They can be separated if they want. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. Considering that it is in Tiny Zoo and these are meant to be tiny habitats, that was about as tiny as I could make that one without it being too small. I also filled in this triangle here, I think this was done in this episode. So just a date palm here, and a few little grasses around the bottom. What's this one here? Oh, this is one of the relatively new African shrubs just there as well. So there we go, that is our American buffalo habitat. What do you think of it? Are you liking it, or do you think it doesn't quite fit in with our tiny zoo theme? Oh look, our little baby's gonna have a mud bath. That's cool. I don't know. It is tricky because I have run out of the small animals in this zoo until they do another content pack, which I believe one has just been announced while I've been on holiday, actually. Oh, look at him rolling around in the mud. So yeah, I believe there is a new content pack on the way with some new animals in. I think it's a nighttime pack, if I've seen the information right. Some sort of like a dusk pack or something it's called. So it's got bats and wombats or something like that. I've not had a time. I've only just got back from holiday. I've not had time to look into it properly yet. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, especially if there's flying creatures. It'll be interesting to see if they start putting birds in and proper aviaries and things like that. We shall have to wait and see. I don't know. They may have already announced that. Like I said, I've not read it yet. I will go and check that out at some point later today. But yeah, what do you think of our American buffalo habitat? Do you like it? Please leave me a comment if you've got anything that you want to say. If you've enjoyed the episode and if you want to help me out on the channel here, then please do hit the like button. That really does help me out, gets the video out to more people. Hopefully then I can get more subscribers, and obviously that means that I can eventually, hopefully, make myself a little bit of pocket money out of my YouTube channel and therefore dedicate a bit more time to it. If you've not seen my previous videos, then you may not know the news that I am having a baby soon, or technically my girlfriend is having the baby and I'm just responsible for it. But obviously that means that I'm going to have less time on my hands, and so I can't really spend as much time doing things like this when they are just for fun. However, if it gets to the point where I'm actually starting to make a little bit of pocket money out of my YouTube channel, then I will be able to dedicate a bit more time to it. So we'll just have to see what happens there. I'm going to try and do more zoo videos because they are clearly my most popular videos on the channel here, as my various Planet Zoo ones. So I'm going to try and dedicate more time to just those videos. So like I say, I've got my new idea for a zoo which should be starting soon, and I'm hoping that will generate some interest and hopefully generate some good videos for you guys to enjoy. I'm going to continue with Tiny Zoo as long as you lot are still enjoying it. The fact that I'm adding in some big animals, and I've still got Volcano Bay Zoo, and who knows what other projects I might come up with in the future as well. I have already got 2 more builds going in this zoo, which I think I did before my holiday. I just didn't get time to record the commentaries for. So the next episode is, I believe, African elephants. So we do have elephants coming into Tiny Zoo, and the episode after that I believe is ostriches, and I think I've finished that. I'm not too sure, but yes, so ostriches and elephants are coming up in Tiny Zoo soon, so keep an eye out for those, plus keep an eye out for my other zoo starting soon, hopefully. Right, I'm going to leave you there. So thank you so much for spending a bit of your spare time with me. I always appreciate your company, and hopefully I will see you again very soon. Until then, take care, stay safe, and Goodbye for now.